Today, I want to get into people saying that BTS should end their contract with HYBE after some recent headlines. We also need to talk about V's new variety show called Seojin and what happened there. And then we need to get into ARM addressing a topic ARMYs were confused about. So hey dumplings, it's Dave. Decide hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumplings, hey spilling mug merch, and let's go. RM, if you didn't know, actually does not have his driver's license. He actually bikes everywhere and even had his own song called Bicycle. For a little while, I think a lot of people were assuming that maybe RM didn't want to get his driver's license as he might be having a great time biking or just a lot of good memories biking. He's been teased various times in the past by ARMY and fellow BTS members over his lack of a license, and this seems to be the main driving force on why he wants to get a license. Not that he has a newfound love of cars or anything like that. In one of ARM's recent visualizers that he released, called Hectic, we got to see someone hop into a car and drive. It was believed to be RM as it looked like him, and so people were wondering if this was RM's way of saying that he got his license and can drive now. And we do react and fangirl to the visualizer and many other songs on RM's album over on Patreon. There's a limited $1 tier there. If you're interested, hope to see you there. Link down in the description. Anywho, RM very quickly debunked this to come out and say that he didn't get his driver's license. So he was probably either driving with a permit, or he wasn't driving and it was TV magic, or it wasn't even RM that we see in the video. Of course, it really seems like RM wants to get his license, so why does he not have one? It shouldn't take too long for someone as talented and hardworking as him to just go and practice and take the test. And especially now with a slightly more empty schedule, it would totally be possible for him to do it. However, ARMYs actually have a big speculation on why RM doesn't have it yet, and it's very possible and could be true. ARMYs were all talking about moments in the show and previous funny moments where we can see that RM can sometimes be a bit clumsy and ditzy. Honestly, so relatable because I drop everything that I hold. But it's not just his clumsiness that would be an issue when it comes to getting his licenses. After all, there's many clumsy people that are driving, but there are definitely less blind or people with extremely bad eyesight that are on the road. Or at least I hope so. Probably zero blind people though. RM actually shared his eye vision score on Instagram story. RM shared that his right eye is a negative 7.75 and his left eye is a negative 7.5 myopia. This is not very good eyesight and requires pretty thick glasses. There's images online that break down exactly how bad the eyesight would be and how little RM would actually be able to see. As you can probably see from the images, that if your eyesight is like that, it would be difficult to drive. However, I don't think eyesight is a good theory as to why someone can't drive, because they can wear glasses and drive. Is it annoying? Yeah, but it is possible. The issue may arise just when it's very dark out, but in the daytime he for sure can still drive. I would be excited for RM to drive, not because it matters to me personally, but if it's something that he wants to do, obviously I want to be supportive and want to be there to congratulate him when he finally does get it. I think it's very funny that someone's eyesight and whether they have a driver's license or not can become news, but it's not surprising as things only become news if it's something that people are interested in, and a lot of people are rooting for RM to get his license. But not only has RM been on the news, but BTS has been as well. There's been some protests for BTS to leave HYBE. This has been going on for a long time because even with just V, people think that V has gotten very poor treatment from the label, and the label doesn't often support V in what V does. For example, V's new variety show called Seojin, since allegedly they didn't post about it, but I will get into that later. So what is the drama here today? Well, HYBE debuted a new girl group called NewJeans. They are very much giving a Y2K type of look and vibe, and I love it. They're a very talented group of girls and breaking a lot of waves in K-pop. They did really well even just for their first week of debut, and their songs are doing very well. And because of this, there happened to be a lot of headlines comparing NewJeans to BTS, saying when NewJeans came out to the market, it actually pushed HYBE's stock price further up. Netizens online were saying that those numbers were weird and that this is just something HYBE wants to say to make investors think that HYBE is doing great. And since there's so many articles about this, some are saying that HYBE is trying to make it sound like the labels will do fine, if not better, without BTS's support. And since HYBE's main source of income for a long time was BTS, people are now upset saying, well, if HYBE thinks they don't need BTS, then BTS can just leave. And many people were demanding BTS to just leave and think that this would be a good opportunity for BTS to leave. Of course, I can understand where this theory comes from, as sometimes when you see several articles and they're all the same or similar, you can assume that maybe maybe a press release was made or something like that. However, a press release can't be made if the information isn't true. I mean, it can be physically made, but it's not going to help HYBE if HYBE lies about it. There's a big chance that New Jeans' debut did surpass BTS or any other group. BTS's debut was not that big because they were on an unknown label at the time. And after all, we all keep saying that BTS paved the way. That means that they made the way easier for other groups. They dug out the tunnel, and then of course newer groups are going to be able to run through the tunnel more easily. So having these articles out can drive more investors. If this was indeed done by HYBE, could or could not be, we don't know, but it'll only help if it's not a lie. Investors can easily look into the data for a public company. In fact, public companies on the stock market legally have to provide this data. And if investors feel HYBE is lying, they will lose all their investors. But I will say BTS will definitely not leave HYBE, or they would have done so already. So many labels would die for the opportunity to work with BTS, and they probably did get many offers once their initial contract was believed to be over. But instead of leaving, BTS wanted to renew the contract. HYBE gives BTS a lot of opportunity, and HYBE is considered one of the biggest labels in Korea right now. Where would BTS leave to? A smaller label? People have been asking V to leave so many times, and especially now that V has a new variety show called Seojin and the trailer was released, it was believed that HYBE did not tweet or post about it. People asked that V leave since he is not being treated quote-unquote properly. People were protesting HYBE and saying that HYBE should just not even be a part of the show, or it'll be the same to just remove V since he's not being represented properly. But if you are unaware of the show, let me give some backstory here real quick. A little while ago, it was reported that V had appeared in Mexico and was filming something. We all had no idea why he was there, what he was filming, and if it was a TV show, music video, or personal thing. Turns out it was supposed to be a variety show where we will see V cook and work in a more traditional type of job. And so ARMYs were excited as it made its way full circle. And we usually don't see things happen this fast. Like, it's been maybe only a few months. Usually we would see something happen, and then almost a year later will we finally see what that might have been about. So ARMYs were upset over the lack of high promotion of the trailer, since it was obvious that this was something that V had worked really hard on and put a lot of effort into. Some people were bringing up this idea that there had been appearances made by RM at variety shows like the Dictionary of Useless Human Knowledge, where HYBE made sure to promote it. However, HYBE is promoting the show the day the show is supposed to air. So it's supposed to air on the 27th of January, and they tweeted it out on the 27th. So that makes sense. They probably aren't going to tweet out the teaser or trailer, but only the day the show airs. It was weird because even making this argument, there's going to be people like, well, what about this moment ages ago? And to that, all I have to say is if you thought that the second example was going to make for a better argument, then you should have used that example first. But also, even if they don't tweet out V's variety show, that is okay too. HYBE has a lot going on, and there's likely no way for everyone to keep up with every single appearance that BTS makes. I am sure there's tons of appearances made by the individual member that the social media team forgets to post about, if they indeed forgot. It doesn't mean a specific member is being treated worse or whatever. There's also 50 million news articles that constantly talk about BTS and V. HYBE can't repost all of those either. But I am curious to know what you think. What do you think about RM not getting his license yet due to possibly his eyes? How do you feel about V and BTS being pressured to end their contract? And how do you feel about the backlash over Seojin and it not being reposted? Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.